Whiskey tits.
Yeah. And John, how are you doing today? Apparently your titties are not doing that well. Welcome everyone to the Cylon Johns and Jill's Network. We are back and we will be covering episode 14 of season 2, Black Market, where John goes to buy his coffins. It is a very interesting, straightforward episode that threw Bobby for a loop. Apollo has a little erotic asphyxiation, but we will get to that later. Without further ado, I will introduce my co-host slash expert, John St. Baptiste. How are you doing tonight? And then I must introduce the Jills, but ladies come first. What's up, John?
Don't call me a lady, you'd be lying. I'm doing well. I'm very much looking forward to talking about it because this is such a divisive episode. Fans of the show either really liked or really hated this episode.
I feel like you're on repeat every week when you say that. I don't know, just deja vu like a mofo.
It's a John recording.
I personally liked this episode a lot. There were a lot of fans who really disliked it.
I can see that.
Because it's an entirely separate storyline from what we've had so far.
Yeah, you could truly call it a standalone episode. And we're going to have the expert rant in just a second. Or at least we're going to be taken off and taken for a ride by John St. Baptiste in just a second. Let me introduce my panel all the way from my far left. I don't know if it looks that way to you. Amy True, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm sober this week as well.
Wah, wah.
Which is always a bonus. I've had a bit more sleep than last week too.
Well, that's always good. Bobby, I know you're back, but are you back, Bobby? Is that really you?
We've got the band back together again.
It's me.
Bobby Catalano, ladies and gentlemen. She is back, and do not blink. You will miss her great insight because she's short and sweet. She will sneak it in there, and you'll be like, holy smokes. Bobby, what did you say? Clarissa Thompson. How's it going? What's
going
up,
really
Randy?
It's going good. No, it's going really good, and I'm really excited to discuss this episode. This is the exact kind of meat and potatoes I was hoping this show would get to.
Taters. I like taters.
Who doesn't?
Mackenzie L. Burns, a.k.a. Sasa. How's it going? I'm being nice and awkward tonight.
I'm doing very well, Johnny. I completed now one course today, so I'm on my way to getting it all done for next week. So,
how many courses is the whole meal?
5.
That's a big meal.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. We'll start with you, kind of. When we come back, we will go in reverse order. But John, would you like to give a little PSA/blanket statement for this episode? Something for the Jills to chew on. I take that back. Give them something to think about, and do not worry about the phrasing I just used.
Well, first I have to say we do have the band back together now, which begs the question, who plays what? Like, I think Johnny's the lead singer. And I think I'm probably the keyboardist, just because, like, I'm pretty sure I'm the only person in this room who can play piano.
Pretty sure you're the roadie. They got digital
Since I was 3. So, who is everybody else, and what do they play?
I play these notes. I'm not.
First one to tap. What's your instrument?
Twig and berries. I have no idea. No. Do you have an instrument, ladies?
I don't even know what we're talking about.
I don't either.
I say we got the
played clarinet, but I don't think it counts really.
No.
I play some piano.
Especially if John wants to make this a rock band. I don't think.
Yes, exactly. That was the entire. We got the band back together.
I don't know.
Exactly. I don't know of any rock bands with a woodwind section, so you have to pick something else for me.
It'd be like a new age rock band or something.
And the tambourine.
Somebody's got to sing.
I'll sing.
Like we need a bassist, a drummer, a rhythm guitarist, and a.
I love how we're starting this off with.
So
That's your
basically, we're the
You're
mother.
using this
Never
for your
mind.
PSA, eh?
My joke just totally failed.
Well, no one knows
And on
what.
that note,
I don't think anyone here is really that. I'm an idiot when it comes to music. So, and I'm, putting us on
He's
the
just
spot here,
happy
man.
we're all back together.
I play the cowbell, bro. That's what I play. There you go.
I was going to say the
Tambourine.
tambourine.
Oh, no,
went to-
Johnny's the lead singer.
I went to college for music.
So you can do it all. You're going to have to be the manager.
Well, I can like hack at drums, and I can hack at guitar, and I can hack at bass, but I can play some keys, and I'm a singer. So,
We all keep each other together, though.
but yeah, I can't make it through a song on a bass. Like, no.
If there's a manager, I don't know who that would be.
Okay, so
John, what song do you want them to sing?
Clarissa
What's your
is
song?
Malcolm McLaren.
What?
Clarissa's Malcolm McLaren, and if anybody gets that joke, that's awesome.
I'm too young, maybe, so I don't know.
Oh, I'm going to say I'm too old then.
No, actually, you're too young too. Malcolm McLaren was a very poor human being, but he was a big music producer back in the day.
Anyway, John's going through his music makes the people come together, Dad.
Okay,
Yes.
let's
All
start
right.
with this episode. Sorry,
Let's
guys,
get in there.
I derailed it. I thought I was making a great joke, and
It was funny, John. It was funny.
nobody
It's just
hopped
slow
on
to
board.
catch on.
Oh.
Bobby, you're gonna play bass because, like,
Because I can't.
you just sit in the corner and quietly, like, do the important thing that nobody, like, really pays
like bass.
attention
That's
to.
good.
But then when you do, you're like, oh, hey, I'm less fucking Claypool, bitches. Sorry if I'm off kilter today. I've had a
We'll
horrible
blame your day. No worries.
day in my real world. This episode, we really get to know Apollo in this episode. We really get to discover a lot about his person and his character and what he thinks. And as was stated, this is pretty much the first standalone episode that we've seen. And I think that's why a lot of people disliked it. I personally think that it made it great, and it made the show great because you can have these standalone episodes. You can't always just be running from the fracking Cylons. Like, it made it really interesting to me that it was entirely based on the culture that is going to develop when commodities are becoming limited and people are getting shoved into smaller and smaller spaces with fewer and fewer things. And I really, it honestly, this is a love or hate episode. And a lot of people really dislike this. Actually, Rotten Tomatoes, I think this episode got like 5.4.
I thought I was watching the wrong thing.
But I was like, for me, this episode was probably one of the 3 best of the season.
Why did you think you were watching the wrong episode, Bobby?
Because I didn't go with anything else. It was like,
I can understand that.
it was set over here. with nothing to do with nothing.
And
And I
And I
was
think-
lost.
there's something you said in the pre-chat, but I'll get into that in just a second. With that, it's a good segue from what John had said. Bobby, did you love or hate the episode? And we'll go through each of the Jills, and instead of your first impressions, I will get that from you. And after that, we'll get into a little bit of, we'll get Rosalind and Baltar out of the way, a very, very key scene, and then we'll go down Apollo's melancholy day, so to speak.
Well, I didn't love it because I was lost. I was like, what's going on here? It was almost like it was a dream episode or something. It just didn't go with the normal stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Maybe
get
I'll
it.
like it better later.
A key thing you said, it was almost disconnected. And I think that is the theme of this episode and something you should key on. Amy.
Yeah, that's what I said. It was set over here. It didn't fit in with the rest of it. Not at all. Well, I watched it anyway.
Love it or hate it, Amy?
I didn't dislike it, but it wasn't as good as other episodes. I think it was again, it was like what Bobby was just saying. It was very, very far removed from kind of all the other goings on that we've seen so far, and some of the scenes, I think they didn't really explain things very well. Like who the random blonde is that Apollo keeps having the flashbacks to. Never really explained who she was or why she was so important to him, which I think was a massive omission. Might have made a few more things in the episode a bit clearer, I think.
Very good point.
We need clarity.
Clarissa?
It's actually kind of funny because I loved this episode. Like, I'm one of these people where, you know, how you talk to some people and they're really into Second World War stuff and they can tell you where every battle was and what weapons were used and what kind of attacks they used and the strategies and everything. But like, my interest in wartime is like, how are people growing food? How are people making clothes? How are people living every single day? Those are the things that I'm interested in. So this is really a portion of the story that I have been waiting for, where it's more the sociological side of things. It's like, okay, we know there's all this military and the infiltration of the enemy and whatnot, but what's going on in the lives of everyday people right now? So I loved it.
Yeah, you're just trying to find your Kamala hookup. Whatever. Mackenzie.
What was it? The meat on the bone, she said.
The meat and potatoes of the story.
The meat and potatoes of the story. Yeah, like kind of like Bobby, I kind of felt like this was a little bit of a disconnected episode. Yeah, I guess it's okay for what it was, but it felt like we needed like either a bit more information in the front half or an extra episode in the middle, because with the last episode, it's Rosalind recovering from the baby blood cells, so it's and then it jumps to this. It's a little discombobulating, and you do kind of feel like you're watching the wrong episode. If you in the very beginning, plus also too, I didn't have much time to really like watch this episode, so I'll be a little bit like, huh? But I'll be all right.
That's what I did through the whole thing. What?
It's all good. The first thing we'll really talk about is kind of Baltar and the sticky situation he ended up in. Fisk, John's favorite character, was garroted in very brutal fashion, and we see Apollo go through something similarly brutal as hell, but I gotta say, awesome cinema there. with that, Baltar is kind of caught diddling Fisk in a sense and is implicated, and Rosalind basically relieves him of command. One thing I kind of want you to focus on is what are the implications of this, and is that going to stand? And anything else you want to bring up about Baltar and Rosalind, because it's very interesting. We'll start with Sasa this time. Put you on the spot.
From what I remember from this quick scene, because I wasn't able to take proper notes, was when because he's talking to Rosalind, but also at the same time, Head Six is around, and he always seems to somehow connect what he's saying to Head Six to what the actual person standing in front of him can say, and it makes sense. When she's talking to him about becoming just a regular doctor again and removing him from the station, he doesn't put too much of a fight about it, but he can but obviously he's losing his power, so it's a little bit of a wavering situation because of the gravity of what was the last episode. And Six is kind of planning to get in her head. She wants to get rid of you because you saved her, and this is the kind of consequence almost in a sense. So Head Six continues to sow discourse with her plans, and so then it was just that. But the fact that she's just we don't really need a vice president anymore because I'm cured is kind of funny. And I remember the number on the board was 49597. So I don't think we maybe lost one or two people since the last episode, but obviously one person because of Fisk, but not too many since the last one.
That's odd, because if you save somebody's life, like if you go out and do CPR on them, but you crack their rib, they sue you. They don't care that you saved their life, but they sue you.
Do you not have protection by law for something like that? We have that here. There's specifically something called the Good Samaritan Law, that if you're giving first aid to somebody, even if you were to injure them, for example, cracking a rib, they can't actually sue you for it.
No, I think here they sue you for it. They shouldn't be able to.
We have Good Samaritan law in Canada too.
I think I've heard of that, but I don't know if it applies there, because so many people were doing it. Maybe they passed it, but it was terrible. I don't know, but people can't be happy you saved their lives because you did something else.
Now, this is America. You could sue somebody for fucking anything. Like we have family meal where I work at. Like the chef prepares family meal, which is like food for the entire staff. Anything that's left at the end has to go in the garbage can. We can't give it to homeless people. We can't. No, because if they got sick, they could file a lawsuit.
Yeah, I'm currently in litigation with John right now because he farted in my general direction.
He didn't put it in the box.
I'm in litigation with Chloe right now.
You missed the
Give
box.
me nanoons.
Did everyone else just miss the Monty Python reference then? I got it.
No, I fucking got it.
I don't do too much Monty Python. I should. They're funny.
I might have everyone submitted. I might have missed that because I haven't watched that in a while, and I might be a bit more comedic because I'm.
I fart in your general direction. You mean from the Holy Grail? That one.
Yeah.
He's like, you guys crack jokes all the time. I'm so serious.
No,
you know what? We say at my house so much. It happens all the time.
No, I just don't know.
Thanks, Bubba.
I don't know what's going on half the time. I won't know what's going on half the time tonight because I'm just a scatterbrain from all the crazy stuff this week. But
which, by the way, was funny the other day. Somebody on Mackenzie's when Mackenzie and I had our chat about Game of Thrones episode 610, somebody, I think it was Catherine Harding, was like, John's mouth moves so little, I can't tell if the camera's
If
freezing.
it's a leg or not, yeah.
Must enunciate. So,
Which I thought was terribly funny. So I should project more. I should be a little more dramatic when I speak.
Yes.
there you go. All right.
Go ahead, Clarissa, with Baltar head sex, as Mackenzie calls her.
Head sex.
Head
And
sex.
Rosalind.
I was
Hey,
hoping
headset.
to dial it back a little bit to like the when Gaius is first on the
Yeah.
ship with Rosalind, and they're sitting there and discussing how there's a black market and how Billy had to trade liquor to get antibiotics or something. So yeah, I was just really noticing how from the very beginning Baltar is just like got hardcore resting bitch face. He's like just, and Fisk is just munching away on the goodies as they're sitting in the meeting. I was just like, what is going on here? And then when Fisk and Baltar are talking after they leave the meeting, I was just like, I'm like, since he read that letter that she wrote him, he is not pleased with her. What is he up to?
Would
And
you
I
be?
mean, oh, totally. So I was just, from the very beginning of the episode going, Baltar. And then he shows up later, which I'm sure we'll talk about when we get to. But every time he's in her presence now, he's like, I don't trust you. And she's like, I remember seeing you with the Cylon. I don't trust you. And all the time, head six in Baltar's ear. Yeah, he's either getting totally out of his mind, or he might be a Cylon. He might be getting signals. His programming may be being sent to him.
Baltar?
Yeah. I've never thought he was a Cylon before, but now I wonder.
I've never seen him in any of the Cylon parties.
But that doesn't mean he's not a Cylon.
Doesn't mean he's not one.
I still think he's their god.
Interesting theory.
Well, I mean, I can't say who their god is, but you might be talking to him.
I don't
Amy?
believe you at all.
Not saying Fisk made himself look like a complete arsehole. The fact that he's been so blasé about it's fine, and while he's eating, and you're kind of thinking, yeah, it's fine for you, not for everyone else. Baltar's very quiet though when they're actually in the meeting. He doesn't speak. He just kind of sits there looking concerned. And obviously, when they come out and they have that conversation, it's because he's benefiting from it. The fact that Fisk's been sending him cigars as well kind of gets the impression that he's been maybe buttering him up because he doesn't like Rosalind or something, and is, I don't know, the whole thing. It seems very underhand, like something else was going on. I wonder what else they might have been up to, maybe behind the scenes. Although I'm not sure we'll find out now with Fisk being dead. But it made me dislike Baltar actually. And it's like he's accepting a bribe. That's kind of how it came across. Everyone's disappearing.
Seems that he's getting back into his the comforts of his old life before they blew up. He likes it. He's not used to going without.
Yeah. Do y'all have anything to bounce off of that?
Baltar and kind of what again? Sorry,
Do y'all have anything to bounce off that? Is there anything else from the Baltar Roslin interaction, and even before leading up?
Oh wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
Did they show the letter? I know they showed him look at it, but did they show what it said? That letter that Rosalind wrote
in
when
the
she
last.
passed and stuff?
Oh, the one in the last episode. I think we only saw 6 read it, if I remember correctly, in the last episode.
So we don't know what it says, though?
No, 6 read it out loud.
I missed an episode?
Did you watch 13, Bobby? The
I don't
one
know.
where Sharon gets.
Yeah, but it was just 6 in Baltar. That letter hasn't been shared to anybody else.
No, I meant to us, though, because for some reason I don't know what it said.
And I have to make this joke right now. Do you think Fisk's career got cut short?
The black market career?
No, just in general.
And also, go ahead and segue.
It's a bad joke. Okay, it's like a really poor joke.
Does it contain the contents of that letter so I know what it said?
No, it's because he got garroted.
I don't know. But I'm not much help right now because I'm trying to remember what happened. But I feel like with the whole black market
It was
thing,
a
they
very
needed
poor
to.
joke done in very poor taste.
I feel like though with the black market, they needed to have this happen at some point because we've been kind of waiting to figure out like what they actually do with stuff that they obviously do have access to, like abundance of. So yeah, and the fact that the vice president and the president are kind of talking about it is a good thing. But obviously, that diminishes kind of, or suggestively diminishes as their conversation changes. But I'm not surprised that they kind of used Apollo as the infiltrator in a sense because he's going through some weird psyche stuff. So why not send him over to Cloud9? What's the other one called? It was not Pegasus. It's another piece. Yeah,
Prometheus.
Yeah, and so I'm not surprised that it's just like that it's an Apollo-centric episode, especially after the whole thing with the I don't want to come back in episode 12.
Good point. I mean, we get to the garroting. Go back a bit to Fisk's term getting cut short. And this is nice and brutal, bloody scene.
Thank
Apollo
you. At least
is
Johnny
assigned
got
to the
the joke.
task. What?
I just said thank you. At least you got the joke. Sorry.
Moment.
I've had a miserable day, so like my bad jokes, if somebody gets them, it makes me really happy. Yes, his career got cut short.
Go ahead, anybody. I don't know what I was saying.
You're talking about his sort of assassination scene. It was realistic, the sort of aftermath. I think normally in TV things, if someone's garroted, it's, they've been strangled and that's it. But using something like piano wire, there is going to be a lot of blood, and it was realistic which is something that they did quite well, I think, with some of the more violent scenes, that they do actually make them look realistic. The fact that his throat was all cut, and then the same with Lee later on. Again, it is realistically done. And
You go ahead and talk about the flashbacks if you would like, as well as anything leading up to Apollo makes the decision to leave the Prometheus. Anything up to Tom Zarek's conversation with him. And I want y'all to bounce off of each other going through these scenes if you would like. Yeah, go ahead.
Before he actually does get killed, it makes it obvious straight away that there's obviously some sort of shady dealings going on, because he was wondering when this person was going to show up before he gets jumped from behind. So they're not subtle about the fact that he's up to something. And although, probably didn't deserve to be killed, it is like he got his comeuppance, especially when they find all the stuff in his quarters, like his jewelry and medication, and he's hoarding these things himself as well. We already know that there's a black market for them, but he seems to be doing something outside of that as well. Like he's got his own little black market running.
Well, that's basically what they deduce, right? They deduce that, he must have been, running his own deal, and then he wanted to change the deal with the other black market guys, and he was like changing the rules on them, right? So, that's basically what it comes down to. Is there was a hit on him. Excuse me. There's a hit on him, and since he may have been a little overconfident in what he was playing, because he had been under the iron hand of Admiral Bitch, so I mean, you definitely do see that in the opening scenes, his sort of like swagger, right?
Yeah, he's sort of abusing his power, so it's potentially a good thing, really, that got cut short, because he's only been the commander for a couple of weeks. And he's already sort of got all this shady shit going on and out for himself. He would not have made a good leader if that was his attitude.
It makes you wonder if that was something that was going on or was starting to go on when the Pegasus had discovered a civilian fleet. Because didn't they have their own civilian fleet, which they broke up? I mean, maybe they were already starting to see signs of this. So Fisk was all like, I know where this is going. Time to make some money.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, they were saying that they just stripped these other ships of supplies. That could be anything. But when they were doing this, obviously they were keeping it all for the Pegasus, weren't they? It wasn't being shared out amongst anyone else. So it's possibly what's been going on for some time. And then obviously now that there's the whole fleet, he can get hold of even more. I think we find that out when they've looked at his personal log. I did write it down. Hang on, he'd been rerouting supply runs, offloading freighters without authorization, and had raided, I think this is the McConnell and a dozen other ships in the last week. It's like multiple ships a day that they've sort of got these raids on. It's amazing that it wasn't found out sooner, if he's been doing it for a few weeks. But it certainly seems to have escalated very quickly.
Was anybody surprised that Adama had chosen Apollo for this mission? Like, it was like Apollo said. He's like, there was a time when, trust was in short supply between us. And yeah, it was just like, wow, he's just putting everybody back to where they were, sort of thing. And you get the impression that as a military man, that's not necessarily something that he would do necessarily, but
Johnny stepped away for a minute so I won't get beaten for speaking. I think
I can still beat you, John.
never mind. I'll shut up.
No, I'm joking.
I think that Adama recognizes that the most honorable person on his ship is Apollo.
And they did try and replace Apollo as tag before.
More so than himself, even. I think he thinks the dichotomy in the relationship between father and son is so out there. There's so much going on there. But I honestly think Adama thinks that Apollo is a more honorable person than himself. And yes, we're talking about an episode where we see Apollo going to hook up with a prostitute. But you know what? Hey, it's honest. It's honest.
Everybody has feelings and everybody gets lonely, okay?
It's a business transaction, and then when it's done, it's over. And you don't
that didn't look like a business transaction.
You never have to. No, Apollo made it a lot more than that, to his detriment.
Well,
but
I mean, she played the role very well. The whole line of "Ty will have my ass," and she said, which is currently belongs to me. Like, that's pretty territorial for a hooker.
Exactly.
When you think about it, that type of job, it's like, hey, it's honest.
It's not though in this case.
Am exchanging money for this.
Well, but it's like Amy's just saying, it's not though, because she's entrapping him on purpose.
Yeah, we do find out later on that she's working for. Yeah,
she's working for that guy. Yeah.
The first thing I noticed with it was that the first time we see her is when Lee's like having a flashback to finding the pills, and when he sees the little girl, he seems to know her really well. Like they've got a special handshake, and he seems to have built a proper relationship, not just with Siobhan, her name was, but with the little girl as well, Paya. He must have been spending an awful lot of time there. And he's bought her a doll, and it doesn't seem like he's just having some hookup with an escort. It seems to be a lot more than that. And even though she then says that he owes her extra money because he spent the night, he's not very happy about handing cash over, I think. But you get the impression from one of the other scenes that it didn't start off that way, because she's telling him about that there's like loads of working girls around, and because their children are hungry, and it gives the impression at that point that that's not what she's doing, just that she's noticed that it's happening. So I think she's kind of led him to believe that there's more to it, and that they have kind of built up some sort of relationship as well over time. And then we kind of find out at the end that she was put up to it as such.
Yeah, I basically 100% agree with that sort of line of thinking. I think that despite the fact that she has some kind of affection for him, but I think that she took the time out to forge that relationship with him, But ultimately, she knew what was expected of her. Like, she probably started seeing him more casually on a normal basis. But he was targeted. Like, he was targeted for a while, to be watched. Because this was going on before he was ever chosen to investigate this murder, right? So, yeah, he was on the watch list for this, as I put him in the notes, gangster guy, until we learn his name. So, yeah, gangster guy. Gosh, where do I know his face from? I should know his name, too. He's really familiar. I just didn't want to look it up because I didn't want spoilers.
I couldn't place him either.
But he's really good.
Oh, yeah. Now, let me ask you, do you see why this is an episode that people either love or hate?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, people, they want to see pew, 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 or bang, 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 action. And
Well, and
Cylon.
they want to see the same storyline going on and on and on.
No, but I mean, I think I like this for the same reason. If anybody out there watches Firefly, they know what I mean. Those tastes of what life is out in, it's a frontier, basically. There's no real home to go back to. It's all the wagon train and everything that comes along with it. And all the societal ills that come along with it. I'm fascinated with that side of things. So, but I can see how some people would be like, boring, because it's not their thing. But it's my thing.
Yeah, no, for me, I and maybe it's the way I think. I mean, I had a 45-minute conversation tonight at dinner with a bartender about the Dungeons and Dragons campaign that I'm starting to run soon. That's all going to be Thieves Guild. So, yeah, I totally got it. But I can see how some people would think of this as a quiet episode or slow episode because it's not progressing the narrative.
Which is interesting.
Because
if you think about the time that it was broadcast,
character development.
Yeah, and if you think about the time it was broadcast, somebody's got their sound on. It's episodic television was far more common earlier in the 2000s, where you could tune into any episode of a show, and it didn't matter if you'd seen previous episodes or not. You watch the show, there's a story, it starts, there's a middle, and it ends. Every episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like that's the kind of television that people were used to. So these long storylines that has now gone on for a season and a half. Yeah, they're going to break it in with an episode that isn't telling that long narrative. So that's but that's getting into the overall thing, not the
and also like as I said, like there's a lot of character development for Apollo in this episode.
Well, yeah, and then once he does there's certain interactions that he has. Like there's the one that he has with Baltar, and Baltar happens upon him, and he's like, "What are you doing here? Aren't these the cigars that you smoke?" And feeding into that paranoia of Baltar's, but really sort of seeing where Apollo's mind is in sort of investigation mode. And then even later on, when you see his interaction with Zarek, please tell me there's going to be a picture of Tom Selleck in the thumbnail for this episode, by the way, you guys. It'd be hilarious.
Well, when Apollo gets assigned the job, he almost rolls his eyes. He's like,
okay,
I don't want to do this. Like, I just almost died. And I would have been happy if I did. And now I'm supposed to go out and investigate all this crazy shit that's going on.
So I was saying earlier, you guys, that there's a line that Zarek says when he was with Apollo. When Apollo has awoken from, I guess he goes back after his attack. And, oh no, wait a minute. Yes, sorry. And he says to Apollo, goes, did you really expect some utopian fantasy to rise from the ashes? Because really the realism of the situation is, of course, there's going to be this black market. And it really points out how Rosalind's kind of got this, well, we have to stop the black market. And we have to take control of everything right now. Sort of
No, and we'll
mindset, how
get
it's
to it. I
unrealistic.
love how the fucking episode ends.
It's unrealistic.
We'll get to it, but I love how the episode ends.
Yeah.
I really, really love how the episode ends.
Did anybody, like, what did the rest of you guys think when Zarek shows up?
Yeah, this
I
is
had a
just what is
meeting.
in our ranting, so please, somebody else speak.
Yeah, I don't know. Was anybody wondering when the hell did Apollo get a girlfriend as well?
No.
Not really.
I assumed it was before he got the thing when the show started, before he had to go there.
Yeah, I assumed it was.
Or are you talking about the hooker one?
Talking about the hooker. He's trying to make her a wifey now. That's not just a hooker for Apollo.
Oh well,
Yeah,
from
he
his
really-
flashbacks, it looks like
That's like
what she said was right. You know, he's trying to replace someone. I was wondering where the other one came from.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I disliked about the episode, was that it's implied that this other blonde woman we keep seeing in flashback was important to him somehow, but we don't know her name, we don't hear any dialogue from her, we don't actually hear any explanation or background of who she is and why he keeps thinking about her. And when Siobhan says, like, I'm not her and I can't be her, fair enough, it kind of gives the idea that he's maybe been comparing her to this other woman from his past, but we still don't actually find out anything about this other woman from his past. We don't even know what her name is, and that I think needed more substance to it. I think it would have helped to explain what it was that he was actually feeling. And when she's saying, Siobhan tells Lee that she's saying, like, I'm a replacement for this other woman, and it's like, well, why does he need a replacement for this other woman? Why was she important?
And she obviously was.
Yeah.
I mean,
he must have told her about this other woman as well for her to know
She
this.
was really rough on him, whatever it is going on.
Yeah.
She did pull a Shay.
totally. She totally did.
Yeah, I don't like her, but the kid is cute. Cammy replacement? Does
that
this
her
kid want a
doll?
pot pie?
Oh no.
Is it?
That would explain why it was missing an eye. Had some damage.
Oh my god.
Mhm.
Dear, oh dear.
Yeah. Well, you can assume something did happen after the Cylon attack, right? I know. If you want to go back a little bit to, they get there on the Prometheus, and wow, what a sight it is. You're standing in the mud. It's a little hard to judge, huh? Go ahead, Clarissa. You were already there.
Yeah. Well, no, I was talking about something else, but I was talking about Zarek and how we hadn't talked about how Zarek said to find them. And yeah, he's the one who gave the name of mobster guy, Phelan. But yeah, I love that as soon as Apollo was like, okay, I know a place. I know a guy. I'm going. He's just like, I'm going.
I know a guy.
And I know this guy. He's in this place. So I really like it when they start off with a scene of something that happens later on in the story, but it makes you go, why was that happening? So as soon as I saw him flying to the Prometheus, I was like, oh, he's going to do this. It's going to be this thing where he sees the guy and he's going to be all holding the gun like at the beginning of the episode that says 48 hours earlier, whatever it was. It was 48 hours, wasn't it? So anyway, all I could think from the very beginning of the episode was I was like, if this guy's bad news and he thinks that Apollo's not going to be a soldier, I think he's wrong. Like, in my notes, I put it specifically as he gives Apollo the "why I'm a mobster now" speech. Because he does. He goes, my dad was in this, but then I saw that people have needs, and I could fill these needs, and blah, blah, blah. All these things to justify being a horrible human being. And I was just like, yeah, he'll shoot you. Like, as soon as I knew the story, I was like, oh, he's gonna just... The guy's
Definitely.
toast.
Favorite point of the whole episode? That was mine. Like, oh, I won't shoot you, motherfucker. Oh, yeah? Bang.
He's like, let me introduce you to a little something called military training. Like, how fast did he disarm that thug? Boom! He had the gun, and the guy was on the ground.
Does his suicidal tendencies help him in that situation? I think that's a pretty apt question.
That's a good question.
I'm not sure that's what he was thinking of, though. I think finding out what they were, that the children were being sold and then sold on, was probably the trigger for what actually made him go, no, fuck it, I'm going to kill him. Because, like, as you said before, he'd kind of built a relationship with this little girl. And then to be told, yeah, sorry, the kids have already been sold, that they're child trafficking for God knows what awful reasons. That's it. He's just like, no, I've got to, need to put an end to this. I think that was probably like the straw that broke the camel's back, as it were. That was his, like, right, no, this is absolutely not acceptable. Like, he kind of realises he can't negotiate anything with this guy, and I just put him down as like Kingpin at the beginning. That's what it reminded me of. And then I realised that Kingpin's real name is Fisk. Which is
that's
Exactly. Is it? I can't remember his first name.
I can't either, but it was just one of those things that really made me chuckle and feel some slight nerd shame for even knowing that. But it's one of those random things that I was like, oh yeah. But yeah, that's how he came across as like this sort of Kingpin character.
Do you feel like
Was
Apollo
mean looking.
took a chance there? I mean, to be fair, he could have somewhat went along with it, got out of there, and come back at it with a new, fresh plan, possibly. I don't know. That's, it's just something I'm throwing out there. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just trying to get y'all going. Not like that.
No, I think Apollo did exactly what he needed to do. I think it's good that he trusted his own judgment. Maybe his reckless behavior, with the "go ahead, shoot me" scene thing. Like, he knows that this guy is a thug, and he's not going to do what he's only going to shoot if his boss tells him to shoot, basically. So, yeah.
That's a disciplined gang right there.
I love how after he shoots the boss, everybody's just like, now what do we do?
Everybody there can't be cool with the child trafficking, right? I mean, that's got to be such a tentative topic for anyone that's even working for the man.
Mm-hmm.
You could see it on their faces. That's a good point.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and I think that they've also seen it's made pretty clear that as soon as he pulls that trigger, he's just like, this is how it's going to be. And if it's not, then there will be a trigger turned on every one of you. We will mow you all down, take all of your goods. And
Go
that's that.
Apollo!
It's
We
kind of
didn't
like they've
even
all
have to say it.
they've all kind of stood there and gone, okay, well, you're the boss now then. It's it
Very
gives the
Dothraki.
impression, yeah, they're like, well, okay, you killed the boss, that makes you the boss, so
I
we'll
think
do
that's how
what
it
you
works, isn't
say.
it?
It can
You
be, I
think so?
suppose.
But then we
Um,
catch a.
Usually isn't that usually kind of what it's like in gangs or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. It
Maybe.
A wolf
definitely
pack.
gives that impression.
In
But
a
I think
wolf pack.
Or any sort of
Wolfpack.
dominant male led pack kind of thing.
yeah.
That's what those crazy ones do. They go, they kill the boss, and then they say, now I'm your boss. Go do it or you're getting the same thing.
Bobby
Yeah,
knows
and when
from
everybody's
experience.
scared of that boss,
I watch
it's
too
like,
much
well,
TV.
if somebody actually stands up to them and obviously ends up killing them, and it's somebody that they were all fucking terrified of, well, that person's even more scary then. So if they've been able to do that, and
Yeah.
he's not going to be the boss for long. I think that's why we see Zarek at the end. I think he's going to insert himself at the top of that.
You know, he's already inserted himself in many places.
Oh,
Probably even
but
Ellen. John,
Oh,
really
God.
quick. Well, Sasa, first off, Sasa, what did you think? How did you feel when Apollo shot? Well, what was his name again? I don't know. I just had a
Phelan.
brain fart.
Phelan.
God.
Oh, the
PH.
guy that was like, well, because it's kind of, it's, I know John will probably hate me for saying this, but it's kind of like almost when it's like the, not hate, but like it's the idea of a character like almost Sam in a sense, kind of defending Gilly / the children, where it's like or something like that, where it's like being protective for a woman and her child that he has a relationship with, but he has no, like, say, parental rights over, and like the people that are surrounding her as well, like in a sense. But then there's all the ideas of like the criminality of what it was. So it's like it's kind of like the Wall storyline in Game of Thrones with Sam and sort of John, with like them protecting people, but also making sure that what they're doing is like still moving along in a sense. And I kind of like it, but then you can kind of see that there's a reason why what's his face had to be killed, because like you kind of need to pay your dues and your all of that. But I'm kind of not surprised, because they did the flashback to 48 hours earlier with the whole gun and him shooting the gun, such as getting to the point of whose gun is it? Is it Apollo's? Is it somebody else's in the beginning? So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of rambling today.
I ramble every day. It's okay.
Ramble on, ladies. Ramble on.
Been a crazy.
I'm mad at that hooker.
Oh yeah,
I'm just mad at her.
Yeah, she doesn't
You
want
got the feels?
Somebody should shoot her in the head.
Probably.
Why is her kid in a cage?
Because the mobster put her there.
Because she's owned by some sort of mobster, like the little kid's owned by like the mobster.
If she did what he wanted, that kid should not be in a cage.
He doesn't care that she did what he expected of her. He feels that he owns her and that she's supposed to do what he says or pay the consequences. And then he decided, whatever, I'll sell the kid anyway. I gotta buy her. Like, he's a jerk.
Someone who likes to do things with kids.
Al Hurd hooker.
He's using the child as just another bargaining chip, though, isn't he? Because it's got the reaction out of Lee.
Oh yeah.
And Luke says, he says, you're a hooker too. Oh, jeez. Well, now we'll get a whole bunch of people being like, I heard it.
I'm not happy with the hooker, that's all.
But it was weird, though, that she was like, that, I don't know, now I don't even know if the child being sick thing was a ruse to get Apollo to kind of be very, like, not a ruse, but like the fact of, like, she calls him and is like, something's wrong. And then she shows up, and then the whole almost strangulation happens.
But he finds the antibiotics on her dresser.
Yeah.
And she says that, you know, somebody she knew hooked her up.
Another client, I guess you could say.
I guess so. But like, she was able to get antibiotics. So I don't think that she was lying about it. I think she was just, it was a convenient opportunity to use the situation to more fully, you know, draw him in emotionally. So like I love Johnny. I love how you said, you know, she totally pulled a Shay. Like for those people who are like hardcore, she was sent by Tywin toadies. Like, yeah, it's very, I can, like, this is that storyline if that's how it went in the other show.
Yeah, I think she made out that they made her call him on that occasion. So I think that the stuff with her daughter being ill, she genuinely was ill and she did need to get a hold of antibiotics. And the implication was perhaps that's how she ended up getting into the whole prostitution thing in the first place, was because she needed to get antibiotics for her daughter. And that was the only way she could, that's the only thing she had to trade for them was herself. And the implication is that because she kind of owes them, that they said, right, well, we need you to do this now, because they wanted to get to Lee. They knew that they could use her to do it. Because she says, like, I think she said, like, I'm sorry I had to, or they made me. So yeah, there wasn't anything wrong. It was her being put up to doing that so that they could get their hands on him and obviously threaten him to get him to back off. But I mean, I guess she is sorry until they take her kid, and then she's kind of like, fuck. And because she doesn't realise until Lee mentions it that they've got her daughter locked up, I think. But yeah, I don't think she's an awful person. I think she was just desperate and, you know, taken advantage of.
I don't know. She was really bad to Lee when he questioned her. I'm not this and I'm not that, and rah, rah, rah at him. And my kid ain't yours, blah, blah, blah. She was not nice.
Yeah, I mean, but to be fair, she probably has a wall up, right? Given the abuse that she's went through and the insane situation that we don't see the civilians, right, John? I want to send it to John real quick. I know you've got a couple of questions to ask these Jills, and I think you pulled a part of your mustache out, but we can't see it on camera, so just go ahead, bud.
Yeah, you know, what I love about this episode is that it really shows you civvy life. Like, what do you think is happening in this collapsing society that's breaking down? Like, people are having to turn to prostitution and drug dealing and shit like that. Like, it really shows you what... I forget who the philosopher was, but there was a philosopher who said every human being is 9 meals away from cannibalism. And it's kind of a reflection of, you know, where a lot of these people are, because we don't see civvy life. You know, we see government people Laura Roslin can bitch about her fucking. I've only got 3 suits to wear for the rest of humanity, and yeah, you're not worrying about how your kid's gonna get her medicine. Like,
Yeah.
it you know that's. Of course, you don't have a kid because you decided not to, and you have your own medical issues. Don't get me wrong. Well, they might have been cleared up completely by.
Yeah. Well.
Cylon DNA, but I my guess would be is that the cancer is in remission and not cured.
I don't know about that. I mean, like, if it's gone, it's gone. Or at least for now. Like, she was at death's door, and now she's not. So.
But
Dear, oh dear.
What about the hookers, Bobby?
This
Never
is
mind the hookers.
my whole rant about this episode, Johnny, right?
Never mind the
Like a
hookers.
minute
Yeah.
at the end. Does anybody like Apollo now more than they did before? Like, I think a lot of people before thought Apollo had a stick up his ass.
Everybody's got their thing. Like, I thought. I don't know that I think any more or less of him after this, just I know more.
No
And
more.
for me, I never really personally had a disambiguity. Like, I always recognized, like the whole running after the woman standing. It always came to me as like a lover, and then he doesn't have that, and that's why he's with what's her name? Chandy?
What?
Chevron? No, it's
Siobhan.
it's Siobhan.
Siobhan.
I like to
I
call
like
her
Chevron.
Chevron.
Oh,
The way they
John.
pronounced her name was really irritating because they were sort of like saying Siobhan, and to me that would be pronounced Siobhan, but nobody said it like that.
Oh, good. No, but to John's point is the flirting, what Dee said to Apollo. How does that connect? What about Dee and Apollo? I think that's a good thing to talk
Oh my God.
What about that?
about.
It's just
What about my
annoying.
favorite Cylon, Billy?
Your favorite Cylon Billy?
The D thing and her being like, "What are we?" And he's like, It's just like, and then like the weird look that's just like, "Come on, like either you're gonna put you together or not." Like, there's something weird going on, and I'm like, just either do it or not. Like, do something with this or not.
Obviously, she's willing to ditch Billy for him.
Kenzie, I can't ask you this because you're like young and innocent. So
Okay.
cover your ears, and other ladies, would you shag Billy or Apollo?
Both.
Well, I gotta choose. Yeah.
Well,
Right?
Billy's so young.
So what?
You can have both, Clarissa, because it would be neither.
Well, isn't it like you have
Not
your
the
age
choice,
and then
Amy.
add 2 years or something, and then that's your
Amy's
major?
like, he doesn't look evil enough.
You have your
He's not
age and
punk
add
rock.
5 years.
They're too nice. They need corrupting.
They have paper bags on the Galactica.
They need some heavy. Amy, I wish that there was some heavy metal person that shows up.
Yeah, I think we had this discussion the other week, didn't we?
Yeah.
We were saying who would we choose. I was like, there's got to be some big hairy tattooed rocker in the
Yeah,
fleet
Sid
somewhere.
Vicious Jr. showing up.
Alice
next week.
Cooper.
Probably on the prison ship.
On the Astral Queen or the Prometheus.
Maybe.
There were some big.
I think there might be
dudes.
some serious romantic relationships on the Astral Queen. That if you came in there and tried to hook up with somebody, you might be busting up.
But
Okay,
yeah,
like all my jokes are failing tonight.
Oh, well, I'm on mute. I can't laugh at you immediately. But if a joke does fail, I recommend just go to another joke because
need a soundboard.
you put a highlight on the bad joke when you talk about it again. I also thought it was a decent joke. Just roll with it, man. Just because we don't laugh, we're thinking about Apollo's wiener and shit, man. So we're not really even.
Well,
if
I
we don't
wasn't.
laugh-
Now I am.
Dun dun dun. And the plot thickens.
Clarissa, you're too much sometimes.
Not just the plot. So
It's all
anyway,
good, John. I got a couple of your jokes earlier. Okay, these youngins, they don't get it.
no.
I'm too young.
Joey, Billy, Joey. Hey.
Well, no,
How
Kenzie,
you
doing?
you were too young.
How you
I
doing?
didn't want to offend you because you're
Blonde.
such a good and righteous young
Oh,
person.
gee. Who knows? I can like I said, like when Johnny left, it's like I can shut you down, John. It's kind of
No, you can
Who-
shut me down, but I mean, if you were to be part of this question, who would you rather shag, Billy or Apollo?
It's tough because the tall, skinny ones are like String Bean McDonkey Dong, and then you
That's
get
the
like
name of their sex tape, actually.
and
Bing
then
Bing
you get,
Donkey
I
Dong,
was trying
Volume 3.
then you get Mr. Average, but he's got a sweet bod, so he's a little
Hashtag
hairy.
name.
But also Clarissa has like it's a hashtag Adama Mama too. I have to think about that too.
Hashtag Mr. Average. Ha!
He's a little hairier. He gets that from Dad.
He's not hairy.
Just
I
a
wish seen him
little.
in just a towel.
He was freshly waxed.
Well, exactly.
Exactly.
What? That's just.
But
I'm just saying that he's not
wait.
like gonna be smooth and like can't even get
Wait,
peach
so-
fuzz like Billy.
so I guess Starbuck was in the shower the entire episode.
She really needed one, I guess.
The joke of the night there.
Because where was she? Everybody.
Oh god.
Because she had her month-long shower. So
I love how derailed this show gets.
I know.
It's great. What about you, Johnny?
I'm terrible.
What about you, Johnny?
What
Billy
about?
or
Oh,
Apollo?
I told you. Oh, straight up. I want to be manhandled, so I'm going with Apollo, and all that anger pent up inside. I'm hoping he'll take me for a ride. Talk about sound bites that'll haunt my future. Man, this channel's gonna kill my career. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna be crazy. It don't fucking matter. Love you guys.
Did you answer me on that other one in chat?
Which one? Me?
Yeah, you.
What answer? What? What is it?
I don't know. What was I talking about?
Bobby, you didn't even ask.
Oh, is there a link to
You
Legion?
didn't even answer the
Yeah.
current question.
No,
What?
I can go look it up though, real quick. Hold on.
Bobby, Apollo
Yes.
or Billy? Who are you gonna fuck?
I'm neither.
Yeah, me and Bobby are off to the prison ship to find a real man.
Would you have
That's
coitus?
right.
Would you have coitus with them?
I'll catch up with you guys later when I'm done with these ones.
Gotta remember, they've been on the prison ship for a while. They might not be very interested in you any longer. They might
On
be
the
like,
other hand, they might not be fussy, so you'd have your pick, wouldn't you?
Also, the
Mhm.
situation is desperate. Remember.
John, I think it's important that you answer this question as well, seeing as you posed it.
Thank you, Amy.
guys, check out
oh
Al's
god, you're all
comment.
bastards.
Al's
Pardon?
comment.
Oh, they're both so
I'll-
short.
There goes your run for governor.
Johnny.
In fact, not only that, John, you've got to answer and you've got to tell us whether you'd be top or bottom.
Oh, she has it.
I'm a power bottom, and everybody knows it.
Ooh.
I didn't expect that. See, you can't make fun of Johnny because no one makes more fun of me than myself.
So then you have to tell it to John too. You have to ask John that question.
Yeah,
Yeah, John
John. Are you a pitcher or a catcher?
What?
It's a baseball reference, Bobby. Just blew it off.
Do you put tar on the bat?
gonna go
or
ask
oil in the
Al.
mitt? Tar on the bat or oil in the mitt?
That server cannot be found, Johnny. What are you sending me to?
Oh.
I don't know. I'm just
Don't Google it, Bobby.
John is still thinking
Don't.
about this. This is a tough, life-changing decision for John to take that team.
John
I
is-
can't get it out.
John's very he's weighing his options, I think, at this moment.
I'll go Apollo just because I know he has a lot more money.
So that's monetary-ist or whatever, moneyist.
Dude,
Well-
I'm a middle-aged man. Okay, I'm gonna go with like
I have retirement to think about.
decision.
Yeah.
Not just that. I mean, we know that Apollo will pay someone, so
And
Yeah,
John
true.
loves to be coddled.
Well, and also like Jamie Bamber has a lot more money than I can't even remember the name of the actor who played Billy.
Who loves to be coddled? Would that be the
Billy
doctor?
is adorable,
Doctor?
but he's like 12.
Exactly.
Billy
Yeah.
is like 12.
And how many 12-year-olds do you know with money? Like I'm
Some
old,
do.
okay? Like I
Some
like
12-year-olds
it.
have money.
Double your age plus 5 years.
I know about a handful of YouTubers that would just be able to pay for you and everyone in your family for the rest of their life that are 12 years old. They literally live in
Millions.
mansions just because they review toys or some crazy shit. That
Yeah,
just
the-
makes you-
And then they
John.
got a makeover from Jeffree
I don't know how we
Star.
got into this. Sorry.
John,
So anyway.
the most subscribed person or the Forbes list made like $12 million last year or something on YouTube. The little Ryan's toy reviews or whatever, he makes like so much money. He's the most subscribed.
That's what they were doing with those kids on the ship. They were turning them into YouTube celebrities.
Ooh, not in a good way either, huh?
Oh,
back to the episode. Oh my
they
god.
put on Kids React.
Did that
Ah!
scene disturb the living fuck out of you?
Yeah, that was messed up, but not surprising.
I kind of thought that was where they kept, like when I first watched this. So
The
one time-
daycare, Sasa.
Yeah, for a second, and then I was like,
Discount daycare.
daycare for hookers. They just drop their kids there.
yeah.
Yeah, I was not happy to see a room full of
No, I don't think any of us
A
were.
cell.
yeah,
I-
cell full of
I-
kids. I'm
I-
like,
Like an
what?
old-timey
We're
cell,
all
too.
making jokes to make it a little less offensive.
True.
Well, I didn't even give it a thought in there because I get so mad at stuff like that I just kind of like, all right, that they pissed me off now, and when that guy got shot, I was like, yes, okay, get the rest of them if you must. I don't care. I don't like bad guys
Yeah.
I think
unless they have long hair and you know.
You like me? Oh, long hair. Never mind.
As
You have
long-
long hair.
as long
You're
as they're
good, John.
a bit bad, but they have limits.
Can I give y'all a spoiler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Season
Yes.
3, Apollo premieres with a mullet.
fuck.
Does that mean
I
he starts playing hockey?
I'm sorry, Johnny. I couldn't even hold a straight face to that. I
He
tried.
changes his name to Casey Jones and hangs out with the Ninja Turtles.
Oh God.
I
I
kind of
really
like the
tried,
Ninja
Johnny.
Turtles.
I tried so hard.
April. Sorry.
Actually, I love the Ninja Turtles.
That was my favorite. Good.
I never watched really
I
the
used to watch
Ninja
it with my
Turtles.
son all the time.
Oh, Mackenzie, we gotta get you some Ninja
Speaking of
Turtles.
Apollo, is
You
Apollo
have to-
scared to pull the trigger?
What?
Is Apollo scared to pull the trigger?
Which
Uh,
trigger?
no.
I think he is.
Which trigger,
And then
John?
Wait.
we're trying to find out that's not the case.
Yeah, didn't we spend 30 minutes on that?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
I'm having
Apollo knows
deja
what's
vu.
right.
Yeah, because
I think it did.
well, we can go back over that
Sorry, this
scene if
episode's
you
a
want.
fucking mess. With all that, like,
No,
very
it's okay. I'm trying to think out loud whether or not I think we talked about that. But if y'all have anything else you want to cover on as far as the gunshot and
It's
what
just
Apollo's motivations for that is,
I'm
I think it's something to touch back on to
I'm
John's
just
point.
surprised. Where's the other moms in this situation? Wasn't there shouldn't have,
Working.
well, at least one other one that should be like watching this. So I
But they
guess
could be
Long-haired freaky people.
could be anything. They could be extorting people for goods and they took their kids as collateral, or they
He did
could have,
say
you know.
people have sold them for booze. People have quite
Stupid.
literally sold their own children. I mean, in that
They just-
situation,
What's Ellen's role too? We can throw
Oh
that
yeah,
in
because
there.
I
The
forgot.
bracelet was found.
Ooh.
What if Ellen is like, what is it? Not the lady of the manor, like the head mistress of this situation?
Oh, good thinking, Lincoln.
Because
Did she trade her bracelet or did Ty trade her bracelet?
And does Ty know that she's in this?
Probably.
Yeah, right?
because
He likes booze a lot.
She's
he doesn't
all
care
like,
that she's
have
been.
power.
And he seemingly doesn't care that his wife has been like quote unquote missing for like a couple weeks now, even though she's on a different ship.
Yeah, the last time we saw her, she was on the ground after tape was pulled off of her face, and she was
Is
You know,
Ty a
having-
secret pimp?
Probably.
Okay, this is just tinfoily, and I don't know if it means anything. But did anybody notice that John Hogan's name was not in the title credits, but was not
Mike
listed
Hogan?
until? No, his name's John Hogan.
The man who plays Ty?
Yeah.
Mike Hogan.
Oh, did I say Michael Hogan?
John Hogan. I mean, I love that you're thinking about me all this time. I do.
He was in
Michael
a Christmas movie,
Oh,
At
and it
least
was really
somebody
good.
But it just a little bit of tinfoil though, that he was listed in like after the title credits and in the beginning of the episode, not in the title credits along with everybody else. I don't know if that means anything. It could mean nothing. But yeah, I noticed that. And I wonder if that means we're not long to see him on the show anymore. Because they didn't invest in his name in the credits in the beginning of the show.
Who? Ty?
Ty.
No, I feel like he's gonna stick around for a while.
No.
Like I said, it's tinfoil. It's just theory. Just something I happened to notice.
I just figured out what tinfoil was.
Yeah, Bobby.
Oh, the tinfoil hat, like theory that, yeah.
People make comments all the time about tinfoil. I'm like, what the hell is it?
Bobby, you should make some special tinfoil hats.
It's to hide your thoughts from the aliens.
Yeah.
I looked that up. That's what it said.
That's true.
I don't sleep in
Hey,
one or anything.
Bobby should make special tinfoil hats for us.
Did you say you sleep in one, John? Does it reflect the sun rays just in case your column pops open too early?
I'm saying I don't sleep in a tinfoil hat.
Oh.
No, not at all.
What if you need a small boat and
Not ever.
escape a flood?
Oh my god, I'm going to start making tinfoil hats as long as
We
my
need to
comic
start wearing
conventions.
tinfoil hats. Okay. We can be called the toaster heads.
Oh, yes.
I think I might have just stumbled
We
upon.
need tinfoil toasters.
Be a toaster head. Yeah, you could have like a shirt that says like "I am a toaster head" or something.
Meat bags.
John can
No.
think of some brand name.
I am a toaster. Crack you.
when we send out these lunch boxes, you're going to have to put a sheet of foil in there with like little instructions to make your own tinfoil hat. Awesome.
Oh yeah, I'll make like a
That's
33-step
good.
instruction.
Folding instructions.
Yeah, and it'd all be
Damn
like 2 or 3
instructions.
folds. But it'd take 33
And
steps.
that would be a great T-shirt though. Like I am a toaster. Crack you.
Or like your Cylon number, but put it as a jersey Oh, that'd be cool. Like a jersey shirt.
The brave little toaster.
You were talking about because it's not relevant anymore, or they'll be like nerd. But hey, do y'all have any more like?
We've
Yeah.
got
Love that
pretty
show,
rare.
The
I
Brave
don't want
Little
to get
Toaster.
This is what we do.
reading.
For those of you who are following us, this is what we do on the Cylon jobs. We practice getting derailed.
Oh, everybody knows. They're still in the chat. They're actually
Well,
a couple
Drinks
people-
and Nose Things fault with my little toaster thing. That was a really good.
We actually specialize in getting derailed.
Hey, if y'all hit the subscribe button, I promise to try harder. I'm just kidding.
In fact, we get derailed better than anybody else. If you get derailed as well as we do, you're wrong.
I
Luke,
think
you're a loyal, loving friend. Thanks.
I think
dude.
episode club sometimes gets derailed if it's like a big group of people, but it's fun.
I miss Julie
true.
today.
Julianne.
Yeah.
Special shout out to Julianne89. We love you. And I'm a horrible singer. I think I
And
just
Catherine.
on battery.
Yeah, Catherine.
Catherine
And
was
Luke.
here.
And Bubba. And
We
Al.
have the 3 hashtag fart in a bucket, as Al would say, winners.
Fart.
So do not think we have forgotten about you. We've already made the announcement. They are coming soon. And Bubba is going to be on air with us at Con of Thrones and get his lunchbox. So it's going to be super
So
fantastic.
Oh, I wish I was going now.
Oh, Bobby, I will just like live call you the whole time, and you can just like sit in my pocket or something. We can work it out.
Deal.
I'll send you videos the whole damn time, man.
Make you a helmet cam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
your
helmet cam. I do wear a helmet in public just in case.
Yeah, just have a hat on with a little phone holder to videotape everything.
Okay, so back to the episode.
Back to reality.
We have a little bit of culmination in the end. Something you said, Sasa, is how great Rosalind looks at the end of this episode. How awesome is nanolons for you? I want to contract nanolons. I don't know what the hell you're complaining about, John, but just take those nanolons and deal with it. Go ahead, Clarissa. I see you wanting to say something.
Well, first of all, that Olay, Q10 moisturizer she's been using is making her look great because she looks fantastic.
It looks awesome.
Awesome, Rosalind. Where I love how unimpressed she is with the report that she gets from Apollo about how the murderer was found. He found out that there's still black market stuff going on, and I didn't really get if he had reported about the main bad guy that he had killed, but basically it's like she was wanting to see I've completely disassembled the black market. We have complete control over all the supplies again. And that was not the story that he brought her. And she was like, that's it.
No, I love how Apollo pulls up his big boy pants in this episode.
Totally. And she's just like, that's what you got? And he's like, that's what I got.
I'm really sad he didn't want to come back.
And she's like, Dad? And he's like, that's what he's got. And she's like, fine, get out. Without being get out. She's just like, I have lots to do.
Yeah.
Bye.
Rosalind's like battle hardened, in my opinion. In a sense, she's battled a bunch of shit. Amy, I see you trying to unmute that button. Hashtag find the button, Amy.
I remembered the bit that we were talking about before we got derailed. That was all.
Awesome.
It was Lee and Dee. We kind of never really got beyond the fact that they had a conversation.
Correct.
And then I'm just checking.
They didn't. Well, I mean, they did, but we didn't cover it any more than mentioning that the conversation happened.
We got a bit derailed by discussing.
Fracking Billy or fracking.
Yeah,
Right.
Do you think that Dee has read too much into what might be going on? Because there was that one scene where they had a bit of a moment.
It was definitely a moment.
During the training. But other than that, there's not been any other hint at any sort of feelings between them or anything. And I got the impression that perhaps
Poor Billy.
she's read a lot more into it, and it's not something that's really even crossed his mind.
I agree. Or he wouldn't be with a hooker.
No, I don't know about that. I mean, because in the same episode where they're in the whole, ooh, we're having looky-loos while we're in the gym, and I flipped you over onto the mat, and they exchanged that look. But then later in that episode, that's the one where they're building the Blackbird, and she's underneath working on the communication system, and he comes over to talk to Kara, and he's all like, I want to talk to Kara, and she wheels herself out from underneath, and he's like, oh shit, as he's about to go and talk to another woman. So he knows there's something there. He knows. Watch it again. You'll see it. You'll see it.
But he's rather have a hooker. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I mean, I don't think he's altogether there, but he knows that there's something going on. Like, he feels it too. He feels an attraction.
That's a song, isn't it?
Probably.
Heard it from a friend who.
I knew it,
Yeah.
Heard it from another you've been messing around.
No more, though. We might get in trouble. So
and I heard we got cut off.
Yeah, I think maybe it's just the fact that he's been with Siobhan for a while and kind of spending all his time with her. He's kind of just lost interest. Or maybe it was never, it was only like a sort of
flirty day.
A fling. Maybe he'd have been interested in just a bit of a fling with Dee, but nothing more than that.
So you're saying Apollo's not interested in the D?
I think so, and I think she's ruining a good thing with Billy.
Yeah,
Johnny, you being bad, and I didn't get it again.
Yeah, that joke will last a few seasons.
I think later on, when she's with Billy and Lee looks over, he looks. I don't know. Excuse me. He looks a little bit put out, but he's not particularly broken up about it either. It's kind of a bit like
they showed though was him peeking.
I think it definitely comes from Dee more. Like you had that whole thing where she was like listening outside when he and Starbuck were talking, and like some kind of weird, creepy stalker. And he's kind of looked over and gone.
Starbuck talking.
She's crushing is the thing, right? Like, and that'll happen even if you're with someone. Everybody has those moments, and then you're all like, I've already found one person in the world who's willing to tolerate my crap. Don't push your luck.
Oh no. Yeah.
I mean,
that's hard to find too.
I know, and that's just something we all have to remember to remind ourselves. Be all like, we found somebody who puts up with us. That's an accomplishment of its own.
You'd think, yeah. Maybe Starbuck will be informed about what happened on this episode after she gets out of the shower.
You're hiring a hooker?
Yeah, after she gets out of the shower.
Yeah, you can't scrub the nanolons away.
The dog
can't wash away the nanolons. Hashtag you can't wash away the nanolons.
No, you really can't.
It's not like to be on
Amy,
camera.
Go ahead, Amy.
I was going to say, I don't think Starbuck would judge someone for that. I don't think she'd care.
For not bathing?
No, for shagging hookers. I don't think she'd really give a shit.
Starbuck has been there. That's where she was. She's in a hooker's room.
A male hooker.
Yeah, but like she's kind of. I wouldn't say she's promiscuous as such, but she's not. She's not like a sort of a very much like a one-man woman. That's not the way she comes across. She's very much kind of like she's going to go and have some fun. So why would she judge somebody else for doing the same?
No, it's true, but I mean, she crushes on him a bit too, right?
Oh, she does.
Like we know that.
Like, why did you ask me?
And so that was my only real motivation for being like, you were with a hooker when you could have been with me. That's what I meant.
But if,
Everyone has to take into consideration there's a certain honesty that one has with a person who is a sex worker.
The oldest profession in the universe.
Oh, totally. It just doesn't go over well with the people crushing on you.
Honesty that you can never have in a relationship.
yeah, also, I'm kind of weird. Like, also, there's that whole thing of Starbuck hooking up with Baltar, and they never talk about it ever. So,
He
Yeah.
like,
hooks up with everybody.
I think the fact that they don't talk about it is because it didn't really mean anything.
Yeah. I mean, to be frank, there are people that I run into on the street all the day, all the time. I live in a small town, and it's like, we don't bring it up every time we run into each other at the mall.
But I think you figured it out. Baltar is the
Stop it.
epicenter for the Nenelon spread.
Stop it.
We know that Starbuck was in the shower, but I will kind of bring it back with a question a little bit. This new system, keeping the black market in place. Apollo states to Rosalind that there will never be a perfect system. How do you feel about this decision? Do you agree that you can't really stamp out all crime? It's really hard. Like it's basically a prohibition debate is the way I look at it. Go with it from there because there's a lot there to process and talk about.
peace is an ideology that never can happen because everybody has to be angry at somebody, kind of thing, and the black market exists for a reason. And
So we could be angry at them.
yeah,
I would go so far as to say that
Bastards.
anger doesn't
Why'd you get
drive.
lost? Go.
Papa.
Go.
I would like I'd like to go so far as to say that I don't think that anger is what drives crime. I think that greed and desperation are what drive crime. There's always going to be people that are desperate for something, and there's always going to be people greedy enough to exploit those people. As long as those two elements exist in humanity, then there will always be crime, and that's just the way it is, unfortunately. So until you abolish greed and you abolish need, because need and greed are what make the building blocks for crime, especially organized crime.
Yeah, I think Lee's sort of his take on it, it does seem quite sensible. He's like, we know there's always going to be a black market, but now we know names and faces. We can monitor it. We know where it's all happening. You know, we know the kind of things they're trading in. And he had said to them, like, no more killing, no more holding back essential medications.
I know more
Obviously,
kids.
the thing with the kids, yeah. I think it's not that they're going to try and police it. They just want to keep an eye on what's going on. And at the moment, if they don't interfere too much, they're not going to be driving them further underground. So it's a good diplomatic solution that Lee's come up with. You know, he's made his presence known there, but kind of said to them, no, I'm going to let you carry on as long as you don't do this. They'll kind of have some respect for him, maybe, and they're going to know that, you know, he's not scared of shooting someone in the chest if they're out of line. He's kind of sent a message to them, and now they'll possibly stick to what he said, and they're not going to stop. Like, for example, if Lee was to go over there, they're not going to hide stuff from him because he knows what's going on. So it's going to work in their favour still. And I think it's the best compromise, because I think Rosalind's quite naive to think that they'd be able to just shut the whole thing down. It was the thing that Zarek was said about being a utopian fantasy. I think it is for Rosalind. We've had all this wonderful mystical stuff with the prophecies and finding Earth and stuff, and I think she's got this big lovely idea in her head, and the reality is, for most people in the fleet, that's the least of their concerns at the moment.
So I have a question. So the scene at the end where we see Zarek walking through the crowd in the Prometheus, they don't go any further. They just show that he's there and that he's with the henchman that had previously been with Thalen. Or Phelan. I said Thalen. So who here thinks that Zarek is going to be some kind of a bridge or a liaison between the government of the Quorum and this black market?
I think
keep it out of the hands of the military.
I think that's the impression that he would be giving, that he's doing it as a go-between, but in actual fact, it's because he wants to put himself at the top of the food chain there. So he'll be like, oh yes, I'm doing it for these reasons, but in actual fact, it's just for selfish reasons. And he's seen a vacancy and decided he's going to take it up himself.
Yeah, there's a big power vacuum here, right? There's just a hole waiting to be filled. Hashtag phrasing.
Johnny.
Enter my body and fill my hole. That's fucking brilliant.
And on
we're
that
killing them
subject,
here.
though,
We're killing them.
Apollo's decision, that in itself was incredibly diplomatic. So is he going to keep working in the military, or is he going to be expanding his breadth to more diplomatic, political leanings?
John,
Yeah.
we want an answer.
Oh, I know you do.
Give it.
I'll go ahead
Tell
and
him, Bobby.
I'll go ahead and give you a question.
Well, shit.
Who do you think's the better politician, Apollo or Rosalind?
Good question. And John, if you have any more questions, keep them going. This will be kind of the wrap up. And after y'all are done, we'll do our usual thing.
Bobby asked for an answer, and I answered with
And
questions.
you gave a question.
I am.
That is not an answer.
John.
You're not funny, Johnny. That is not perfect.
That's perfect, John. Go ahead, sir.
No, I'm seriously.
Cracking troublemakers.
After watching this episode, who do you think's a better politician, Apollo or Rosalind?
I don't know, but I think the two of them make a good team.
When they can get along.
Just most of the time. He sides with her quite often, even over his father.
Yeah, this is very true.
They do. They make a good team, but apparently, he can go out and take care of business like, she probably can. I like Apollo. He's just a little, I don't know, standoffish.
I don't
know.
I would agree with you there, Bobby, that I think Apollo is more standoffish. And I think at this point, like, I'm not saying he couldn't one day be a better politician, but I think Rosalind is a better politician. Like, she's got the background. She's made the tough decisions. She's followed through on these decisions. There's more to a politician than one particular issue. There's all sorts of things that she mediates, and she goes to meetings, and all the things that are involved in being a politician. So I don't think Apollo would be up to that. Not right now. Maybe one day.
But he could take
But
care of business.
As it stands, he's an excellent soldier. And he's a good administrator. But in a military capacity.
So closer, like a Jon Snow type?
More like why am I gapping out on his name?
Oh, I thought
Oh my
that was
God.
a glitch and hang
Like
out.
a Sir Barris, like a Sir Barristan Selmy. Okay, he sat on the council and everything, but he's a soldier. You know what I mean?
And that's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, drink some
because I said so.
Series.
I think in this situation, this particular situation that they've been in, I think Lee was the better politician because he has a more realistic view of what's going on, and he understands it better than Roslyn does. But I think with day-to-day politics and stuff, he wouldn't really have much of a clue. So it depends on the situation, which of them would be the better politician. And I think he'd get bored being a politician.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
More
I mean,
exciting, life-threatening adventures, huh? Maybe.
You can't shoot people when you're a politician. It doesn't look good.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's kind of like he's the police chief that
And Apollo's really good at shooting
letting
people.
it slide, right?
By the way, kill ratio per shot, Apollo is the highest in Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. He's made
even higher than Starbuck.
Made
Yeah,
good
1
kills.
million to 1. That's some crazy shit too. Oh, I mean,
it's sick how good Apollo is with a gun or a ship gun. Like it's insane. He's really good at shooting things. And by the way, if you like prostitute out children, yeah, he gets kind of nasty when he shoots you.
That's good.
Oh, that's really good. But yeah, if anybody is curious, Apollo has the highest percentage rate.
Yeah, there was no Oberon stupidity there, was there?
Firearm
shot him in the head.
Apollo's first, Starbucks second, Cat's third.
boom.
Like shots taken.
Soak it in.
Soak it in.
And why do you know that?
Because he's the expert.
Because I'm the expert. That's what I do. Like I know this shit, and I look it up, and I like read about it, and I obsess.
Well, I want to look up stuff too, but I'm not allowed.
You know, exactly. A Battlestar Galactica book fell on his head as a child, and he knew everything instantly. So, better politician, Apollo or Rosalind in this episode.
Well, we don't. Oh, I didn't get to say about Rosalind yet. It looks like she gained some weight in her face back. That was like a thing because she was looking kind of much more frail in the last episode. So, whatever the Cylon blood is or Cylon human blood that she got transfused, she got better quickly because it's been a few weeks, I think. So, again. So maybe Starbucks been in the shower for a long time. Who knows? But in terms of a politician in this episode, it's hard to say because from what I remember of this episode, it seems like Rosalind was kind of distant while more while Apollo was more kind of like hands-on with the people, but
good point.
Yeah. Well, she's still trying to get on her feet from almost dying. So it's
You didn't see her do a floor routine before Apollo walked in?
No, I did not. Or
I just got this like mental image of her being like,
well, you could say that if she
Just-
well, you could say that if she was with a Dama, and you know how they have that whole love story going on, a floor routine would be a little bit weird.
she's like, okay,
hilarious and spoof
bring out the
stuff.
parallel uneven bars.
The Nanolon blood's kicking in. 14 back handsprings later.
Let's get crazy, asshole.
Yeah.
She's like, Adama Mama. I'm the original Adama Mama.
Oh my
Like,
god.
from day
She's
one.
like, I'm getting ready to ride the pommel horse.
Oh
But anyway,
yeah.
Thomas.
Do y'all have any more questions, John? Do you have any more questions before we get into our final thought?
You know, I have to ask you, who would you vote for?
Who would I vote for?
Lee or Rosalind?
I would vote for Rosalind because she's a little bit more predictable.
At
And
this
that-
point
and
in
that's
the
a
show,
slight edge.
At this point in the show, 'cause we
At
can't
this
go
point in the show, still the slight, even with Apollo here, his unpredictability gives me a little bit of pause in some of his actions. I won't get into it too much because, yeah, me and John will talk about it later. But I think, you know, he can be a little bit reckless, and I don't know. I want someone that's going to take chances. And
Take
I
a
think
chance
Rosalind
on
takes
me.
measured chances, a little more. You know, it's like by
Just
a very thin
before your
margin that I say this. Super thin margin.
Okay.
Mhm.
Me, it's also a super thin margin, but I would take Apollo.
And I know
if-
why too. I can't even argue with you on it.
If it comes down to it, I want somebody who will put a bullet in your chest and then say, "Hey, let's make a deal."
Yeah, a dead body is not very good at negotiating, so he would have the upper hand for sure.
Well, let's make a deal with the other people.
I was being an asshole.
I know you were. But once again, like the same thing, it's a very thin margin. Who I would think would be the better leader. But I kind of like Apollo's Caesarean form of politics.
What?
He just cuts the baby out and gets it over with.
No, I know
Basically.
I know what that means.
you know, like as in Caesar, as in a Roman emperor.
No.
I never understand, John.
Anyway.
Yeah, people do
But
get confused
anyway.
and think it's named after Caesar, which is not the case. Whatever, we'll get into other trivia later. Do y'all want to go over your final thoughts? If John gets an epiphany, shout out to the last episode. You're welcome to throw it out there. But Amy, you want to go ahead and give your final thoughts since you haven't talked basically the whole damn stream. So come on, Amy, spill it.
Oh, I only went off for a minute because I was cold and I went to get a hoodie.
I'm just.
Final thoughts. I do appreciate the character development for Lee, but I wasn't hugely enamoured by this episode.
Shut up. Oh, sorry. Bad dog.
Oh dear! Fucking brilliant. Oh,
Sorry, the dog growled at my mother. He's a bad boy. You continue. I'm very sorry.
I'm totally lost my train of thought now.
I didn't mean it.
You said you appreciated Lee's character development, but you didn't think this was the greatest episode.
Yeah, and that's not to say I disliked the episode. I just, I think I felt that not enough happened. like we've had these episodes where there's so many things going on and so many little things where we're going between the characters, and we didn't really get much of that in this one. And we didn't spend a lot of time with the other characters that were in the episode. So it was too much Lee, I think, this one.
You can't have too much sleep. Oh my god, those biceps. You can't have too much sleep.
Biceps just aren't my thing. Give me a dad bod any day over that kind of thing. A hairy dad bod.
Do you want to go ahead and give your Cylons with that?
Oh, my Cylons are always the same, so they'll stay as they are. I'm guessing you want my rating as well, though.
Sure, Amy. Why don't you just spit it out? Jeez. No.
I will give it
God.
8.5 cubits in the throat.
Ooh, nice. I almost brought up the qubits earlier, but see, you did it for me. You Jills are very impressive. I tell you how awful you are on the podcast, but for now, I will praise you. Bobby, final thoughts on this episode. I know you were lost. Go ahead and give your rankings, and I want to know who the hell your Cylons are, and I don't want any back talk from you. Stop telling me to shut up. I'm tired of dealing with this. Bobby?
I decided to shut up instead. My Cylons are always the same until they give me reason to believe someone else's. Do I have to say them?
The same. So yours are fucking Cammy, the pot pie, and Billy.
No,
Right?
Callie.
The pot pie has nothing to do with anything.
It's
Yes.
Callie.
Callie.
Yes, and that little piece of that spaceship that is left in the universe, that one way out there, that nut, that.
But hey,
everyone-
Bobby was in the lead for a while, so, and then it
Bobby wasn't.
somehow changed. Then it somehow changed, even though Bobby had the same people for the entire
Yeah, I don't know
time.
how that works.
And don't ask me because I'm not keeping up with it, and it's just flying past my head. So I trust John in this. I don't trust him to tell y'all who the hell's in the lead because I think he'll troll you with that shit.
Don't trust me about anything. I
So then we can't trust
worst
John
thing
about
you
anything.
could ever do.
Oh no.
Sasa, while you're talking, you want to give? Oh wait, Bobby, did you give your ranking?
No.
Bobby, do it.
What is it, you sassy tart?
I did not mean to yell shut up on here. The dog was growling at my mother. Like she wasn't allowed in here. Oh, he's a bad dog. I don't know.
You just call your mother a bad dog?
No, the
I called
dog.
the dog a bad dog for growling at my mother when she was in here to say goodnight. He didn't want her to
That
come
would be so much more funny.
He had to get in trouble right then. I didn't have time to mute. But he doesn't like being told to shut up because it's not nice.
Well,
What's your episode ranking?
yeah, there we go.
I'll say 7.5.
Ooh.
7.5 what, Bobby?
7.5 off the map. It's off the map. So that it doesn't belong with the rest of the show. Maybe next time it will.
Clarissa,
You're laughing like I'm going to be wrong here.
I loved.
I think
I really
everybody's
loved this
turning into William
episode.
Shatner with the long pauses. Go ahead, Clarissa.
Well, she's a fucking Star Trek nerd. What do you expect?
Hey, I could have fully formed sentences like Captain Picard. I'm just not bald enough. Anyway, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. I loved this episode. I loved that at the end it was just Adama and Apollo drinking scotch together, and he's all like, "You should have told me about the woman." It's just like all he needed was like the cowboy hat and the big long mustache. Like, son, you should have told me about the woman.
I think I saw him on that catheter commercial.
Oh boy.
I eat oatmeal every day. Real Wilford Brimley moment. But yeah, no, I really liked this episode. I thought that it was so much more focused on the human element of things and individuals in society, and I know it might not be all the stuff that people want to answer the questions for their Cylon dreams, but I'm going to number one. I'm gonna keep going with this idea in my head that possibly Baltar might actually be a Cylon. And I've never really had that thought before. Like, I mean, it's been brought up, but I've never felt that way before until this episode. But his vanity is very human. And then
just say
so he's on my Cylon list. Doc Cottle's still on my Cylon list because how can he smoke that much and still not have cancer? And then my last one, believe it or not, wonder if it's D. She's like pushing herself on Apollo, and they're all looking for virile young humans to further the Cylon race. And they're trying to make more of them. So
I love how Dee's the stalker all of a sudden in your mind. I'm not.
Well, no. I don't think that she's a stalker, but you know, the fact that she confronted him with it when she's obviously been involved with another guy, and you know, she's bringing it up, and they've had their moments, and you know, maybe the girl from his past, maybe she was a Cylon, and that's why she was pushing him to have a baby, and maybe he's been like selected to be like Cylon baby daddy. So
maybe she's a Cylon.
So my Cylons are D, Baltar, and Doc Coddle this week.
Okay.
Right.
Clarissa, you give that devious face. Doc Coddle.
Doc Coddle. Say it through my teeth.
Go ahead with what John told you to do and say yes and thank you.
Of course.
Do what you're told to do.
Oh gosh.
Yay. Oh, my rating. This is right up there for me. This is like a 9.9 for me, you guys.
Wow.
Like, this is exactly what I've been waiting for.
Yeah, we knew that earlier as soon as you watched it.
I watched it like 3 times.
9.9 what?
Not 9.9 dead mobster guys.
That's pretty good, but you'd think y'all didn't even think about this before you got on the panel. No, I'm just kidding. Dead mobster guys. How many? The one dude that makes me think of when you say that, the one body that was left for Apollo. My gosh, that was awful, wasn't it? That was just insane. He was shot in the head too, right? Just like whatchamacallit was he not, John?
Phelan was shot in the chest.
Was he?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to see. Sorry. I'm lost.
I was expecting him to be shot in the head too, and then when he shot him in the chest, I was like, oh. And then he looks at Apollo like, oh, just like that.
Which, if you have military training, you go for a chest shot over a head shot any day.
Yeah, you'll go for center mass for sure. Well, it's easier to miss, right?
It's easier to hit.
No, it's easier to miss the head than the chest.
Right.
My bad. Damn it! We're floundering here at the end, and it's my fault. Sasa, help
Yeah.
me
No, it's
out
my
here.
fault. I'll
So
take it. It's my
I
fault.
give this episode 8 absolutely wait, hold on, I wrote it down. Absolutely abundant Apollo acts in this episode.
Oh, you didn't prepare either. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, I
I'm
watched this
joking.
episode. I watched this episode last minute. God dang it!
I'm just kidding. I'm trolling all of you guys. I'm
And-
actually projecting because I am unprepared today. So that's
And and my kind of final thought about this is that Stinky Starbuck I guess had a shower for like a month because it's been at least a few weeks. So she needed her monthly shower this episode. That's why she wasn't there. And it was okay. Like it just seemed kind of out of place. Like we needed a buffer episode between the last episode and this one. But my Cylons are Ty, Gaeta, and Clarissa kind of got me with the D, like a one.
got you with the D.
Johnny,
Clarissa
I
got
was
you
just
with the
waiting
D.
for you to take that.
No.
Oh,
Damn,
dear.
Clarissa.
Hey,
Everybody's trying to
I got skills like you wouldn't believe, brother.
Al Red Sox fan gave this a stream 11 out of 10.
Oh, that sucks, man. How much money do you need to borrow?
Which is hilarious because this, I think, is the most unprofessional stream that we've ever done.
Oh, I think we've done worse.
Oh, this is by
Yeah.
far at least above mediocre.
It's tame.
Like above our median. Because
Yeah.
I can pull at least 5 right now. I can think of off the top of my head that are far worse than this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not worse, just more unprofessional.
Oh no, I think we've been more professional.
Yeah.
than this.
Yeah, we've been way more unprofessional.
We don't do any bad streams. We just do some very unprofessional streams.
Which is
John
fine
loves
because we're
lying
not
to himself.
trained.
That's okay. No,
Anyway,
we have fun. We make fun of ourselves, and it's fantastic.
So you have one more Cylon to give?
Yeah, you have Ty Gata and
and
I don't know, somebody who's relevant to this episode, maybe?
D.
D. Yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I said.
Chris gave you the D. I forgot.
The D idea.
Yeah. I guess I'll give my ranking real quick. I know John hasn't given you a ranking yet, but I'll give mine. I give this 9 sexy strangulations.
Oh.
Nice.
Nice and morbid.
Oh, gee.
Definitely morbid.
John.
That wire around the neck and the punch in the face.
That was straight,
that's all I like.
straight up 9.
Just like Johnny likes.
Straight up 9. Straight up strangulation.
You're so lucky I'm not coming to Game of Thrones.
No. Actually,
No,
it's funny
kidding.
because I'm going to give this episode give this episode 9 gloomy Garretts.
What? Who's Garrett? Never mind. No, I'll figure it out. I'll have to rewatch this episode. Anyway.
I'll ask, who's Garrett?
Garrot.
Oh,
Sorry.
God.
Who's that?
Garrett.
It's the weapon used to murder these 2 people.
Well,
To murder
The
one
strings,
person
Bobby.
and try to almost murder Apollo. You can just make it from a piece of wood and any type of string-like material, but piano wire was used in this case. It is one of the most devastating and brutal weapons that can be used on someone besides like a 3-sided knife or something of that nature. So it's pretty bad. That's like one of the most brutal things, especially
I think they
this
use them in
portrayed
mob
well with
movies.
Apollo. Oof.
And if you're watching this episode and your name is Garrett out there, we love you, dear. You're not terrible or dangerous.
Mm-hmm. And hashtag long may they stream is now in the chat.
No, like
Oh, dear.
funny. Hold on. What? Oh yeah, Al Red Sox fan tickled the like button so much he was sent to human resources.
Long may they stream. It's true.
Okay, so I'll try to wrap this up.
Which
Who can see the chat? Bobby, can you see the chat?
Yeah.
Ha! You set yourself up for that one. Why don't you give some shout outs real quick and then we'll let everybody know where they can find us. After you give shout outs, Bobby, let them know where your awesome handmade crafts are that you don't want anyone to buy.
or knickknack, as Al calls them.
Al calls them knickknacks. Yeah, okay. We got Al, Red Sox fan. We got drinks and knows things.
Got
Clarissa
yourself?
Thompson.
Bobby Catalano herself. She's gonna
Bobby
skip.
Catalano. Yes. Mackenzie Burns. Let's see. Amy, quick, type something. The
Thanks,
Cylon Johns.
Catherine Harding.
There's Amy, true. I found you. They were, yeah. Let's go all the way up.
That's what he said. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, let's stay above the equator. That's what he said.
I guess it didn't go far enough.
Lady Laura Dane Starfall, thank you for joining us tonight.
LLD.
Itinerant. I can't say it, Bobby.
Itinerant hobbyist.
I used to know how to say this right, but it's been a while and my brain is fried tonight. Y'all know where to find me, but Bobby, where can we find your awesome stuff?
You have to call me.
What?
And you have to say, I want you to make me this. And then I say, okay, what color, what size, and all of that. And then later we work it out.
So you heard it.
Fucking Italians, man.
If you want to go through a samurai sword type made experience, if you want a sword personally made for you, you want to go through traditions, rituals, really get to know the maker of your art, definitely check out Handmade by Bobby. Honestly, she does.
Well, you want it made right, don't you?
Yeah.
You have to get all this detail. I can't just put something on Facebook and have somebody say, oh, I like that, but I don't. I'm not going to have that because I want mine in a different color because nobody does that. They don't even tell me they would like it in a different color. So they could just call me and tell me. Or message me on this.
On Facebook, too. Get Bobby's Facebook page.
More like. Hey, Amy, is there anywhere you would like people to locate you, or do you just want them to leave you the hell alone?
I'm not that bad.
I know.
I'm popping up on John's channel weekly at the moment to do the American Gods stream on a Wednesday night. And here, and that's it. So, ta-da! Short and sweet. Just like me.
I'm sorry.
What?
Short and sweet. Just like me.
We're all talking at the perfect amount, right time. Sorry, I'll shut the hell up. But yes,
because Amy's like 3'4", and she's very nice.
Oh gee.
But she does play with dead bodies all the time.
Yeah, I'm a hobbit.
I heard crickets earlier, and I was like, "Who has crickets?"
Oh,
and then I was like,
yes,
Amy.
The crickets weren't like some passive aggressive sound effect or something. It was my tarantula food. They're supposed to be silent crickets. Apparently not. I will find the culprit and feed it to my tarantula later. That's definitely the next one going in the tank.
Hashtag docile.
Tarantula.
Larissa, did I already ask you where we can find you at? I can't remember what I said. But we need to find Larissa. Everybody find Randy.
You can find me like you can find Wally. Waldo. What do they... Anyway.
Yeah.
Where's
Randy the Badass, right?
We call it Where's Waldo. They call it Where's Willie, I think, in the UK. But
where's the tax evader?
You can see his stripy hat. You can find
Clarissa,
me
does
on...
Randy have his own channel yet?
No, maybe after I've done my travels. I had thought about doing it simultaneously, but it's just not going to work. I will be traveling with the senior citizen that will not necessarily remember what we're doing next, so I do have to be mindful of that. So, in any case, you can find me, Thompson, Kootenai Girl, on Twitter. You can find me, Clarissa Thompson, on Facebook. You can find me here on Cylon Johns on Friday nights, and occasionally you may find me on Episode Club with Miss Mackenzie L. Burns here. Otherwise, if you'd like to check out any of my products, I do make them on request, and that is with Clara T, Bath and Body. And you'll find the link through my Facebook page.
And she makes everything from dead animals as well.
Oh
It's
my
a
God.
nice segue here. No.
No, my soaps are vegan.
See, you had to point stuff like that out. Because
Tallow soap can be acquired for you on request, however.
ooh, nice.
Hmm.
Definitely have to check that out. Everybody, look at it. The links will be in the description. Sasa, I know you got stuff going on. Go ahead and let us know.
So tomorrow at some point, there should be either 1 or 2 episodes of Episode Club coming out. The final 2 episodes, which happen to be Season 7, Episode 5, Eastwatch, and the last one is Season 7, Episode 1, Dragonstone, before on Sunday when we do Season 7, Episode 7, The Dragon and the Wolf. And then, I'll be on Johnny's channel on Monday at 2 o'clock, then Justin's channel with Johnny at 8 o'clock on Monday. So, all the stuff, and then my own channel on Wednesday at 8:30. So much, so little time.
Busy bees. And yeah, of course, you can catch me on Secrets of the Citadel right after the premiere episode. John, would you like to tell us where you come from? What
Oh,
the
yeah,
hell have you
hiccups.
been doing lately? How many people have you fed on in the past month? And would you like to take us out, my friend?
Well, I fed on 13. I wouldn't call them people. Like just food things, blood bags.
So you robbed a Red Cross, John. That is awful.
No, I didn't rob a Red Cross. I wouldn't do that. I'm a moral and ethical person. I just feed on like randos.
John is guest starring on What We Do in the Shadows next week, so be sure to check that out on FX as well.
You can find me on my channel, which is John St. Baptiste. And I'm doing something that I think is very exciting right now. I hope everybody else is excited as I am. Also, Cylon Johns, of course. And Miss Mackenzie L. Burns is kind enough to invite me on her channel every once in a while. I don't know why. But
I keep you in check, John.
she's like, oh, hey, yeah, come out. And then I'm like, hey, I'm here. And she's like, oh, John, I'm getting out the prod.
I keep John in check every once in a while.
You love it, John. You know it.
Someone has to.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Correct that witch.
unattractive young redhead with prod. Yeah, I kind of love that.
Rosie.
No, but seriously, and then Johnny and I do a whole lot of stuff together. And please, if you would do anything at all, if you're not subscribed to Johnny's channel, please subscribe, because the content this man puts out is just absolutely
Johnny to 1,000.
It's the best. And we're so close to 1,000. And if you can get Johnny to 1,000, if I can find out who that 1,000th subscriber is, I'll send you pictures of Shade.
Shade the cat.
I might even give John a weekly allowance if we can get monetized.
I'll totally send you pictures of Shade. Like, if you can prove that you're Johnny's 1,000th subscriber, I'll send you pictures of Shade.
They deserve a lunchbox then. Whoever gets the 1,000.
Or the turtle. Or the turtle. You take your pick.
Yeah, I'll have to announce this.
Or the turtle.
But yeah, everyone make sure you have your subscriptions off of private and that people can see you subscribe. Other than that, I wouldn't know who the 1,000th one would be. But yeah, I need to announce that a couple of times so people can know. Because I'd like to do something. That's going to be a very special occasion. I couldn't have did it without all of you, my friends, on this panel and in this chat. So I cannot thank you enough for that. I am truly humbled, and I won't even make a crude joke at this moment. John, take us out of here while I cry a little bit.
Oh. Well, there's this thing we always say, and I think it would be what you do say, whether you're ready to cry or stab somebody in the freaking chest.
Okay.
And I believe that phrase would be,
So say we all. Bye.
Bye, everyone.